Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, the Savannah Bananas are coming back this year. A spooky place to get married is going to be available.
Disneyland ducks are getting some recognition. A well-known citizen of Disneyland was recognized. We finish our talk with Alex and more. DL Weekly starts now.
This is your captain speaking to you from the wheelhouse. I'd like to welcome all of you aboard the DL Weekly podcast. For safe passage on our trip, please do not sit or climb on the outside railings. And be sure to watch your children. The water can be unpredictable in these parts, and we'd sure hate to lose any of you.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of February 11th, 2026. I'm Tig Bushman.
And I'm Teresa Urban. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we would like to give a special shout out to Aaron C. for upgrading your support, Robin M. and Gail L. for becoming new supporters, and also to DNS for continuing your support. If you would like to help support the show, get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, and a bunch of other fun perks, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
A very fun yellow team will be returning to the Disneyland Resort in March. The Savannah Bananas will appear on March 26th at both parks. Joining them will be the Indianapolis Clowns, one of the newest Banana Ball Championship League teams. The day will include a Savannah Bananas cavalcade at Disneyland, a special performance in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle, and a high-energy performance in the World of Color viewing area. That's not all. More details will be revealed leading up to this big day. There will be banana treats at both parks as well.
I love the Disney Parks blog representation of this, because if you go to the link in our show notes and find the Disney Parks blog link, there's like floating bananas all around.
It's distracting.
In the background. I guess I didn't realize before that if you put your cursor on them, the bananas get bigger.
Did you also notice on the story 2 down that when you click that link that it's the color of the team in the background? Anyway, we'll get there.
Oh, I'm like, where is it? No, I also really liked an unbelievable visit last year. Because, yeah, the first Banana Day at Disneyland was last year. I think we happened to be there. Like, we didn't mean to, but it just happened to be during one of our trips. They're such a fun team. I am not a sports ball person, but Banana Ball has become a favorite in the house. And same with Vern. Like, there's many times that I'll be working on something and come down and there he's got like a Savannah Banana or one of the other Banana Ball teams, the game on. It's just fun. And it makes a ton of sense that they're coming to Disneyland, because to me, like, they're entertainers. Yeah, they're also athletes, but they're entertainers too, because they're doing fun and wacky things. So it makes sense that they're having this relationship with Disney going forward. And I think they've got a really fun and passionate fan base, which is very similar to Disney fans. So it makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't realize that there was a whole league of these type of teams, but that's pretty cool. Well, some of the treats you could experience at Disneyland and California Adventure is at the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. They are going to have a banana pudding, which is bananas, whipped cream, and crushed wafer cookies with dulce de leche and toffee. That sounds pretty good.
Over at the Wine Country Trattoria, you can get your banana on with a banana brulee tart, as well as a frozen banana mudslide cocktail.
Ooh.
Both sound delicious.
At the Cappuccino Cart, there's a banana cold foam that can be added to any drink for an additional fee.
And then, of course, at select outdoor vending carts, you can get frozen bananas dipped in chocolate, as well as fruit carts, you can get whole bananas. So lots of bananas to enjoy around the resort.
Yeah, so all types of cool stuff. You can also enter to win a Savannah Banana sweepstakes, which will give you a 3-night vacation to Disneyland for the winner and up to 3 guests for the Savannah Banana Days. The winner will receive up to 4 tickets to the Savannah Bananas versus the Indianapolis Clowns game at Angel Stadium that's taking place the next day on March 27th. So the sweepstakes is open now through noon Eastern time on February 27th. So check out the Instagram or Facebook post for the Savannah Bananas on instructions on how to enter.
Getting tickets to the game in and of itself is a reason to try and to win this. Yes, of course, we love Disneyland, but so it's a lottery system. That's how popular it is to go see Banana Ball, is you have to enter a lottery system to then hopefully get selected to be able to get tickets. So it's very, very popular. So that's awesome. The other thing that is not Disneyland specific, but fun to mention anyways, is Banana Ball is actually coming to the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex at Walt Disney World in May. So May 29th and 30th, the team's Loco Beach Coconuts and the Party Animals will face off inside the stadium in a battle of the ages. But yeah, so have you watched Banana Ball?
I've seen parts of it, from last time. Yep.
But yeah, diving plays, hilarious hijinks.
They're like the Harlem Globetrotters are to basketball.
Dancing,
they are to
lip
baseball.
syncing. Yes.
Yeah.
All sorts of
This
fun.
would be a fun thing to see. This is somebody, on stilts in the background of this photo? With the top
so in games that we've watched, he pitches. I've seen him hit. Like, it's
in stilts.
Outrageous. Mm-hmm. There's a player that also is like a unicyclist, so he does stuff on a unicycle. It's incredible. Lots of backflips when they're catching like the balls way out in the outfield. It's wild.
Craziness. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, couples who love the Haunted Mansion have.
And who doesn't?
Couples who love the Haunted Mansion now have an opportunity to make it part of their big day. Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings and Honeymoons is adding the Haunted Mansion courtyard to the other great locations around the Disneyland Resort. So for those of you that may get the Haunted Mansion courtyard is like the front steps of the Haunted Mansion. The mansion offers a dramatic backdrop for tying the knot. There is a catch, though. This location is only available in the early morning before the park opens and can accommodate up to 25 guests. Nearby, the Magnolia Park Terrace is available for bookings, too. Reservations for this space start in July.
Now, if you could go back in time, would you have moved your wedding location to this?
I'm having a hard time because a lot of people thought of me when they saw this and reached out, which I loved. And I have been thinking about it. If I were to go back, because, Vern and I got married at the Disneyland Hotel. It was magical. It was a morning wedding. We had a brunch reception, then ended the evening in Disneyland, just enjoying the park. They've added stuff since we did that, though. And that includes, there's a small location inside the park just off to the side of the castle. And then you've got the Magnolia Park where you can either have the backdrop be the mansion and like the new queue area of the mansion, or you can turn and face Tiana's Palace as your backdrop. So they've added some really nice new in-park locations. Whereas when we got married, it was the castle. That was your only option. And I think I just looked this up recently and it's $100,000 to get married in front of the castle. Ooh. So
it's the same thing though, like before the park opens or after it closes kind of situation.
Yeah. So a little out of our price range, but these other ones are better, right? Because it's more like the smaller in-park places in Disneyland range from $25,000 to $40,000. My assumption is the Haunted Mansion is probably the $40,000 one.
Sure.
I could be wrong. And they include light decor. They include photography. And there was maybe one other. The officiant, I think, is also included.
Oh, that's cool.
That's nice that you get more than it's not just a location fee that you're paying. So I don't know, because when we got married, the only thing you could do apart from the ceremony in front of the castle is you could have paid extra to do photos, which also were like before the park opened, really, really early, or I think it was actually only early. I don't think you could do after the park closed. And we opted not to do that because you had to go with a Disney photographer. And then you also had to pay fees to Disney. And the fees were based on if you want photos here, like what locations you wanted photos in. It was different fees per location. And so it added up very, very quick. So I think this is a great kind of option for folks that were getting married outside of the park, but then wanting to do the photos inside of the park. This is probably a more affordable, good middle ground. The only hard part is they are smaller, more intimate locations. So you do have to choose, who's going to come in there with you. But I don't know. I think in my perfect world, if I were to do it again, I'd get married at that little court off to the side of the castle with the castle as the backdrop for the actual wedding and ceremony. But then, yes, pictures at the mansion.
Yeah, it looks like starting at $25,000 to $40,000, like you said. The Fantasy Fair Garden, which is like off to the side of the castle. The Haunted Mansion Courtyard, the Magnolia Park Gazebo, which we also talked about, and the Magnolia Park Terrace. So 3 places you could get married by the Haunted Mansion. All of these are in the 25 to 40 range. And then starting at $100,000 is the Sleeping Beauty Castle forecourt. If you want something cheaper in the $15,000 range. That's where you get the Rose Court, the Adventure Lawn, the Sleeping Beauty Pavilion, the Disneyland Hotel ballrooms.
Which I will say that the event minimums have gone up drastically since we got married. So I think Vern and I got married at the correct time.
Yeah.
But even before us, it was even more reasonable, more affordable. But yeah, I think it's so cool that they're opening it up so that there's more in-park locations for couples to choose from. Because if you look at like Walt Disney World stuff,
You can get married anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity at Walt Disney World.
I'm surprised the locations that are not on here. I'm surprised Cars Land is not on here. I'm surprised that Galaxy's Edge is not on here. Like, can you imagine getting married in front of the Millennium Falcon? If that was your thing.
It's got to be coming, right?
I would hope so.
It's got to be.
Cars Land, that would be another one that I think you'd probably really be excited for. Getting married walking down the street or whatever, and then having Cadillac. Lots of good options.
Lots of great options.
Well, speaking of celebrating things, this past weekend was the Super Bowl, and the Seattle Seahawks beat the New England Patriots, which means they got to say that famous phrase, "We're going to Disneyland." Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III and quarterback Sam Darnold led a cavalcade on February 9th. The duo also enjoyed some attractions like the Mad Tea Party, posed for photos with Mickey and Minnie, and more. See the background color?
Look at that. That's fun. This is always such a fun thing every year, and I think this is probably more exciting this year with the Super Bowl being held in California. And the team that won the Super Bowl is, a Pacific Northwest team. So it's kind of West Coast all the way this year. But Tag and I were talking pre-recording, and I just always wonder how exhausted these players must be to be celebrating, playing the game of their life. I'm sure then taking the time after the game, doing all sorts of celebrating to then get up and experience Disneyland. They've got to be so they must sleep for the next week after this, just recovering.
You would think so for sure.
The other thing that was really cool is, so there's always the cavalcade, but this year there was ESPN had a stage or a set in Town Square that they were live recording and live streaming, whatever you call it. Broadcasting from all day on Monday. So that was a really cool thing to see. We had a couple weekly tiers, of course, that were in the parks, and one of them sent us a photo of kind of what the setup looked like, and oh, this is live. Here's I can watch it on my phone, and they're right there, kind of thing. So that had to have been interesting for football fans, especially to kind of be lingering around Town Square to see who they could see that was at that stage.
It didn't, for the first time too, I feel like in a long time, sometimes when they do broadcasts and stuff from the resort, it seems like it's an impediment to getting around and whatnot. I did not get that feeling this time. It felt like that it kind of was a little less intrusive than before. So good. I'm glad. And what great synergy between ESPN and Disney and doing all of that stuff.
Well, Disneyland ducks are as much a part of the resort as anything else. Well, finally, they are getting the recognition they deserve. Guests can now pick up a T-shirt with the Disneyland ducks walking in front of the castle. I don't know why, but this made me so happy.
You know who I could see buying a shirt like this? Vern. I don't know why. Seems like a Vern shirt.
I just love that Disneyland is leaning into it because it's kind of like a...
It's been a big deal for a while.
Yeah, and it's kind
Where's the Disneyland Cats shirt?
That's coming next. DCA is going to do that.
There you go. DCA is known for all the cats.
They can have the... Oh, I love it. But it's so funny because it's so elegant. It's like a sketch of the castle, and then this whirly font of Disneyland that's very elegant, and then there's just these little... there's a cartoon mama duck and then a bunch of little baby ducks following behind her. You just need the cast member kind of
I was just thinking that. Or was there somewhere, am I remembering something weird? Was there somewhere that they had little cones or something that they put down to let them cross or something? I thought I remember something.
There was
like
something with the parade because they decided to cross when a parade was going, and so they had to pause.
Well, if you've always wanted your Disneyland duck merchandise, it's there for you now.
Dang, this might have to be added to the collection. I don't know why I love it so much. This seems like something fans would have created on their own. So the fact that Disney was ahead of the curve, and they're
well, hopefully it sells well so that they'll do more stuff like that. Well, another part of Disneyland are the iconic guests that have become part of the park-going experience. There's John Hale, who's known for riding Radiator Springs Racers over 15,000 times. Peter, known for his clapping and fist bumping other guests, and of course Frank. Frank was known for sitting on the porch on Main Street and people watching. We met him a few years ago at that spot. Unfortunately, Frank passed away back in August, but the New Century Historical Society has honored him with a plaque on the bench that reads, "Every day is my best day." This was one of Frank's mantras.
This is such a cool thing. I thought it was really amazing that when Frank passed last year, because he passed
August.
I think but it was, I was going to say it wasn't long before we then were back in the parks. And I had seen online, of course, that there was like an oversized, what looked like a cast name tag that said Frank that was sometimes spotted on the porch. But a day or two after his passing, they actually put a silhouette of Frank in like the window of the Silhouette studio to kind of honor him and make sure that he had a place on Main Street still. So I thought all of that was very cool and like above and beyond. But they took it one step further, and he's the bench that he was always on now has a plaque to commemorate it. And they did it in the perfect Disney way because it blends in seamlessly, but it still specifically is honoring him.
Yeah. Did you, by the way, notice on the Mice Chat post that when you split through, they had a bunch of pictures of Bob and Josh together at the resort, and they were sitting on the bench with the sign there, and I was like, oh.
On Disneyland's 70th birthday, Josh D'Amaro has a photo of him and Frank sitting on the bench together.
Oh, really?
Yes.
On Josh D'Amaro's like Instagram page?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I got to go find this. And this was on the 70th?
Well, I don't know if he shared it on the 70th, but for sure when Frank passed, he shared it.
Okay. I need to go back and find this.
But I think it was the 70th because Frank was wearing his Mayor of Main Street sash.
Sure.
Again, I could have, maybe I'm making up the actual date, but there's a photo of, more recent photo of Josh sitting with him last year.
Yeah, but maybe not like, what's funny is like this one is from,
maybe it was just a story and not like one of his stories and not an actual.
Oh, yeah, we found it. It's the 70th anniversary one that if you're browsing through Josh D'Amaro's feed, it's the one with all the cast members on Main Street. If you click through a few images, there's one there with him there. So
I love that. Frank's shirt has what looks like a cast member name tag on, but it says Porch Potato. I love it. It's just very, very cool to me that they're honoring him this way.
Yeah. I mean, you've really made it an indelible impression on the resort when they go out of their way to add, something permanent in the park. And I hope people will visit it and remember him because he brought a lot of people joy just for doing something like so innocuous. He just loved sitting on the bench. He was just kind of like a thing. Same thing with like Peter clapping.
Yeah.
Like you just see him and there's just something that just brings joy.
Yeah.
It's like when Maynard worked at the resort, like he was just one of those cast members, same kind of thing. Like there's just these people you see that aren't like, I don't consider these people like, they're not doing social media and stuff.
Yeah.
They're just there enjoying their happy place. So, yeah.
Most folks know about the Disney Visa card from Chase that offers you cash back on everyday purchases, as well as Disney money you can then spend in the parks and more. Well, a new Disney Inspire Visa card is now out. New members can get up to a $600 bonus with a $300 Disney gift card sent to you upon approval and a $300 statement credit after spending $1,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. There's an annual fee of $149, but this thing also is quite cool because there are perks that are specific to theme park people that are in here.
Okay.
So beyond your welcome bonus, you can get 200 Disney Rewards dollars after spending $2,000 per anniversary year on eligible U.S. Disney resort stays and Disney Cruise Line bookings.
Not too bad.
You can also get a $100 statement credit after spending $200 annually on U.S. Disney theme park tickets, which includes like your Magic Keys or your annual passes. And then if you're a Disney Plus person, you can get up to $120 per year back on Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus subscriptions.
Wow.
Plus what you get currently with the other Disney Visa Rewards cards, which is 10% off select merchandise, 10% off select dining locations, there's photo opportunities, and card member only limited time offers throughout the year.
Wow. It looks like elevated earnings categories for the Inspire card compared to the other one. So 10% back on purchases made directly at DisneyPlus.com, Hulu, and Plus.ESPN.com. 3% back at gas stations and most U.S. Disney locations. 2% back at groceries, and 1% on other purchases. That's pretty cool. The rewards dollars, Teresa, you used it a lot for your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You paid, and I use this every time we go. It's like my food budget in the beginning, and sometimes my souvenir budget, depending on what I'm buying. But yeah. Oh, also 0% promotional APR for 6 months on Disney vacation packages and exclusive Disney Cruise Line savings. So lots of stuff. I don't think we should be pushing people to sign up for credit cards, but if you wanted to anyway, this is not a bad deal. James and I do pay for the current Disney Visa card. We did upgrade to like the premium one or whatever it is. That's $49 annual fee, but we get way more than $49 back from it. So like we're actually, I think it like doubles the percentages or something. And so, but this $600, like the $300 gift card you get like as soon as you're approved. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So it's like $300 free dollars.
Yep. So that's for new card members. I did look it up. You have to have not had a Disney Visa card for like the past 24 months. So
any Disney Visa
Visa for the past 24 months to get that new card member offer. But even without that, if you're using your card to pay for your theme park visits, your cruises, your Alani stays, that sort of thing, the fact that you can get $200 reward dollars after the first $2,000
per year.
Plus, I'm thinking that also is you get the 3% too. Mm-hmm. And same thing with the tickets.
Did you see these card designs? There's an up one. There's was it Coco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. And then you've got the fun Stitch.
And then Golden Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of this. Part of me wants to sign up for one, but I'm like, I already have the Disney Visa card. I don't need the Inspire one.
I don't know. It's one of those things you got to sometimes, even though it's got a higher annual fee, if your perks are outweighing, So yeah. Anyways, we thought it was exciting. So it's one of those things. If you've been thinking about getting a Disney Visa card, this is a great opportunity. That sign up bonus is pretty wild, especially if you've been thinking about it and you already have a trip planned. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Get the other bonus, the other $200 credit thing right away as well.
Yeah, if you're a Disney fan and you spend a lot of Disney stuff, it seems like it'd be a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you love them. Because love lives here.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, everybody! It's me, Heimlich. My stomach is so empty. Hey, help me to go find something to eat. Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Well, this week for Snack Chat, we are back in downtown Disney. We are at the end of downtown Disney, and we're going to talk about the Parkside Market, which I think we talked about the Parkside Market like when it first opened, but some stuff has changed since it opened. For instance, the coffee shop that was there is now just the Parkside Market Coffee. I don't remember what the coffee shop was called before.
I'm really bad because I was just trying to.
It wasn't open very long
for that too, but there's all sorts of wonderful coffees and teas and different beverages. I'm seeing like ciders and hot chocolate Powerade, if that's your thing. Oh, there's even like kombucha, but all sorts of different cold and hot beverages. There's also some bites. They've got breakfast available there, as well as some like sweets. So we've got like cinnamon rolls. Look at this. They have something called the unicorn cinnamon roll, which is fruity pebbles, mandarin lavender frosting.
Ooh.
I'm curious about that. And then they've got croissants as a brookie, like, so that's one of the brownie cookie things, cake pops. But yeah, there's all sorts of different like.
They have a bulgogi breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
And a Korean carnitas burrito.
There's a plant-based vegan. Well, there's a vegan sausage, which is, I'm assuming, like a sandwich. It's plant-based sausage, vegan cheese, avocado, garlic, veganese on a ciabatta roll. So if breakfast bites are your thing and coffee's your thing, check it out. Oh, what the heck is this? I need this. A bold brew? For apparently cold brew is like a thing of the past here at the Parkside Market coffee place because they have bold brew.
And which is?
And it's a caffeinated espresso with choice of milk or syrup. So but it says it's a frosted blend. So I wonder if it's like an espresso slushy. I don't know. I could be making
feel
that
like
up.
You would try it.
But there's also, what would I get though? Because there's also something called the Dole Pineapple Breeze.
I think you just got to go there a couple times.
Yeah, I just got to visit a couple times.
Got to go in on your way in, got to go in on your way out. So this area, if you're not familiar with, the Parkside Market has 4 different locations inside of it. And some confusion that we had when we were there, but I think we talked about it on the show, but I'll mention it again, is you can order from one location and pick up at any of the spots. They're all like kind of connected. So keep that in mind. When we were there, I had some Soul Sister, which is a fast casual Korean forward menu based on bibimbap, which is Korean rice bowls, which were very, very good. So they've got some signature bowls that you get. You can choose your base of rice or japchae noodles. And they've got a beef, a pork belly, a beef and egg, a chicken, and a tofu options for that.
I and Vern all got food
they were so
from
good.
Here. Vern had the tofu. I think I had the beef. What did you remember? What did you have?
I think I had the beef as well. I might have had the beef and egg, but I think that I think James had something. James had the chicken thing. Yeah.
He got the chicken from the chicken place. But I will say I decided to upgrade at that point. It looks like it's no longer an extra cost to get the noodles, and I think I did that wrong. It seemed like the rice
was really
seemed better, and like it was a better portion. However, looking at their menu currently, it looks like it is not an extra charge to get the noodles, which I think is a good choice. But yeah, so that's Soul Sister.
Oh, we haven't finished our appetizers.
Sorry.
We have a dumpling appetizer, and there's also a Korean chicken salad under their grab-and-go salad. And then, of course, there's beverages and different drinks.
I'm trying to remember. I think I tried the cherry lemonade.
That sounds like something you would have gotten for sure.
Yeah. And then there's also Gigi's Chicken Shop, which
James had the Gigi's chicken, I think.
Yeah. So it's a family-friendly menu of chicken sandwiches, salads, and classic dinner table sides. So sandwiches include various chicken sandwiches, including fried chicken sandwiches, grilled chicken sandwiches. There's a chicken Caesar wrap. There's a sweet chili fried chicken, a ranch fried chicken, and then the original fried chicken.
For salads, they have you can add fried or grilled chicken to any salad. That's an upcharge. You can get the California, which is mixed greens, bulgur, avocado, cucumber, roasted sweet potato, sunflower seeds, sesame sticks, and a tahini miso dressing. There's also kale and Brussels, which are grapes, sunflower seeds, pecorino, quinoa, dried cranberries, and a honey lemon dressing. That sounds pretty good, actually.
For strips and sides, you can get some chicken strips, or there's crispy Brussels sprouts, broccoli slaw, waffle fries, sweet corn elote, and different sauces.
I think James got the corn elote.
Yes.
Somebody did. It was good.
Yeah, I remember someone got the elote, and we're very excited about the elote. And then desserts and drinks, we've got the classic chocolate dirt pudding, which is chocolate pudding, Oreo crumble with Mickey Mouse sprinkles and gummy worms. There's also an oatmeal cream pie and a frozen strawberry lemonade.
Upstairs, there is a second story, which is the Vista Parkside Market, which is kind of a cocktails and mocktails kind of area. This is a great spot. You can go up here, whether you're eating up here or not, and bring your food from downstairs up here. There is kind of like a balcony. That's where we sat and enjoyed kind of people watching up on the second floor. But this area feels nice and open and refreshing. I feel like this is probably what the Earl of Sandwich upstairs might feel like, too.
Oh, I hope so.
Just kind of a cool spot up there. They have a wide variety of cocktails and frozen drinks and beer. And
I do appreciate that they're all bird-themed names.
Yes.
So there's like the caged bird. There's a drink called On the Wing, the albatross. There's one called the Bird Watcher, the Bird of Paradise.
There's the Fancy Bird.
Oh, the fancy bird. The nocturnal
The
overlook.
Kentucky Warbler.
Come on. Oh, and Rosita's Wrath.
There you go. They also have things we were just talking about ducks. Duck beer.
Look at that.
From Anaheim, even.
Okay, I'm sorry. Look at that beer. It's called Chai Me a River. Chai like chai tea.
Yeah.
Cry Me a River. Oh, the Red Trolley.
Oh, sad day.
Too soon.
They also have a decent amount of zero proof options there, too. So if you like, that seems to be kind of something that's kind of hitting the mainstream now as people are doing that. Also, they have some bites as well. They have a chips and guac. They have a loaded Parkside fries. They have fried pickles and a buffalo chicken dip. So pretty good. So that's the locations there if you want to enjoy it. I think it's a really good place to go and check out some different things. And another location, if you're maybe not a Starbucks fan, another great location to be able to get your coffee in the morning, maybe like a little snack, or come back for lunch. And again, always great. People watching.
Well, and the other thing too, if you're in Disneyland, don't forget this is just a short monorail ride away, because it's actually right across the pathway from the monorail.
That's true. You can hop out, get that, and come right back.
Well, if you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing the show on your podcast app. It helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of the community.
When boarding your Trivia Land boats, please look down and watch your step. For those of you wondering, yes, TNT truly are dynamite together. We tried separating them once, but the trivia just fizzled out.
Welcome to Trivia Land, where we have some awesome listener-submitted questions, and if my memory doth not deceive me, I think these are some new names with these listeners, a couple of them. So are you ready for some awesomeness?
I hope they're the ones that are going to be nice to us. That's what I'm hoping.
You know, everybody is nice because they submitted questions, and they saved James and I the work, and we appreciate everyone that submits questions, and they are very nice.
I did challenge last week that I was challenging 10 trivia questions submitted, and I think, according to what I can see on our side of like how many people fill out the form, we only got 2 this week. Aww. So come on, people, 10. I want 1 week with 10 questions.
Well, I trust that they're writing them down as we speak.
I hope
because we have the best listeners in all of the podcastiverse.
We do.
I thought for some reason you're going to say we have the best listeners of all the land.
Well, let's get to one of those awesome listeners.
Yeah.
This first question is from listener Melissa C. What was the stage show that was a feature of the Disney Afternoon Live?
Oh, no.
Live in all caps.
When do we have a time frame?
I'll give you the hint that it was 1991.
Okay. And it was a stage show. Wasn't there I feel like this was back in that Fantasyland Theater, Videopolis area. Yeah. And I want to say, I know for a while there was a Dick Tracy show.
There was also was it Pocahontas?
That was later. That was after Pocahontas came out, but Pocahontas came out in the mid-90s.
Okay.
Actually, I think Pocahontas was, 97?
I don't. If you know that, I'm going to be so impressed. You not the movies are not your...
95.
Hey,
so I was off by 2 years.
Pretty good, though. Pretty good. I'm going to go with you, Dick Tracy.
Yeah, Dick Tracy.
All right. So you're going to hop in the 40s car and
wear the yellow trench coat or whatever it was.
Talk on your wristwatch and
Yeah.
Both of you say Dick Tracy?
Why not?
All righty. Your second question from listener Eric S. What are the names of all the boats in Storybook Land Canal Boats?
People love giving us like boat names or whatever, because I do not think that this should be a question, just to be clear. Actually, I don't think they have boat names in Pirates. I think they just have the numbers. Or do they have names?
Who knows?
Okay.
If they don't have official names, I'm sure somebody's made names for them.
I am going to just bow out right at the beginning because I can't think of any names for the Storybook
and I'm
Land
trying to
Canal
think,
boats.
right? They always have a theme. And I can't even think of one of the name, like one of the boat's names off the top of my head right now. Stephanie, our friend who worked at Storybook Land, I'm sure she's like yelling at her podcast player some of the names right now.
There's probably a few people yelling at their podcast players.
And you know what's even worse? I think we've had this question before, but stumped. We're going to learn something new.
We are going to learn
question
something new.
2.
All right. Stumped. Your third question from listener Jacob B. In Roger Rabbit's cartoon Spin, Jessica Rabbit was originally seen as she was in the movie. Now she's seen wearing what?
A trench coat.
Yeah, a trench coat. She's a detective.
Mm-hmm.
A yellow trench coat, if we need to be specific.
Is she wearing a yellow trench coat?
I think it's yellow.
I appreciate specificity.
Hercules was 97. Sorry, I had to go back to that because I was like...
Look at that. Tag just pulled up a list of animated films and when they came out. And look at that. 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99.
Oh, yeah. They were doing one a year for
boom,
a bit
boom.
there.
Crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And hand-drawn animation. Absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And your fourth and final regular round question from listener Todd B. How many people have a window dedicated to them in Town Square? For purposes of this question, we are counting the Opera House block of buildings, the Town Hall block of buildings, and the train station. Anything connected to the Emporium or the Disney Showcase that wraps around to Main Street, we are not counting.
Okay, well, that's good. That's very specific.
The parts that wrap around to Main Street, we are not. Dang it, because I was going to say Lillian Disney now has a window, but that's wrapping around to Main Street.
Yeah, because it's got to be on the Opera House or on the City Hall complex or the train station.
Opera House, Town Hall block, and train station.
Yeah.
That's all Todd B wants.
Opera House, I know that's where the Davises are.
Oh, sure.
Alice and Mark Davis, their windows are there.
Okay.
I feel like there's at least one other window over there.
Is there a window on the train station?
I don't know. When you said that, I was thinking, like, when Vern said that, I was like, it is there? And same thing with, like, Town, with City Hall.
Where is Elias Disney's window?
I think he's on Main Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're like...
We've reached a part of Disneyland knowledge that I just don't know.
Yeah. I think he's maybe like the first section on the Emporium side is what my brain's tickling. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, Mark and Alice Davis are the only ones I can that come to mind as like specifically who.
Vern, do you have a number?
Where's Tony Baxter?
I have a number and I have all the locations with the names.
Can you just tell us the number so we have some vague idea of how many we're going for?
I think that's what
That's the actual question.
Oh, the question is how many?
Yeah.
How many people have a window dedicated to them in Town Square?
I thought Tony Baxter was in Adventureland.
So you could just spitball a number and we'd be done with the question.
I'm just going to say, do I go with my first instinct?
I'm going to say 5.
Okay, I was going to say 5. I don't want to match you. I'm going to say 7, which was my second guess.
Can I ask you to go a little higher?
Oh boy, we're okay. 10,
14.
Can I ask you to go a little higher?
Oh, what
in Town Square? Jesus.
Okay, pause.
Oh, Jesus ain't helping you with this one, honey.
So it's more than Tag's 14.
According to the list that I am looking at.
I feel like it's got to be
20.
A decent... Oh, Lord.
I'm just doubling my numbers, all I'm doing.
28. I'll just keep doubling up.
Okay, so we're going with 28 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we did 7, 14.
Because our first guess was
28.
completely wrong, apparently.
Alrighty. Well, listeners, what do you think of those answers? Do you have an answer written down? If you stick around until after the discussion, we can find out answers together.
Well, this week we are continuing our conversation with Alex from the backside of water.
You know, I will say this. In argument against what we're talking about here, one thing that I do see disappearing from parks, which is a net loss, is those randomized magical moments.
Yeah.
And because, as you guys probably know, 10 years ago, those were so prominent that you would just be randomly plucked as somebody was walking by you, and the cast member would be like, hey, have you guys ridden our ride yet? And you'd be like, no. And they'd be like, come on in. I'm going to get you to the exit. That kind of stuff happened a ton. Now we're not seeing that. So that would be an argument that I'm seeing. But again, I don't think that's corporate. I think that that's self-preservation. I think Disney's become so popular that those things, and you know what? I would also say that our ilk is guilty of this because we report on these things. We talk about these things.
Teresa brings this up all the time. Like we had the dumbest excuse of this was the not Roger Rabbit, the White Rabbit. There's a statue by the bathrooms, and there was like this little hatch on the back that people were hiding like pins and stuff in, and then everybody knew about it, and so Disney was like, "This is like this is not meant to be doing that," so they like sealed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
because that's what happens is we have all of the. We try not to. We I'm sure are guilty of it, but we try to not publicize things that will end up being a negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a whole thing about that went around on TikTok or whatever a couple years ago that, you know, like if you show up to Disney wearing inappropriate clothing, they will give you a voucher for a free sweatshirt and some pants or whatever.
Oh my gosh,
and so people were going and doing this, and now Disney doesn't do that anymore because somebody was like, look at this cool thing I figured out. They'll just give you things. And it's like, you suck as a human.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Like, thank you for taking something that was amazing, that like, you know, something happened and there was this cool experience that could happen. And now because of your greed and for the likes or whatever, you've put this out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just argued out my net negative. We've created that net loss ourselves. So we shouldn't be like super upset if we don't see that, because it can't be blamed on the park. I think that's an amazing point.
But you know what else can be blamed on the park?
Yeah,
especially Disneyland.
Tell me, Tag.
Lack of entertainment.
Yeah.
Where is a show in the high period? Where is a show in the Fantasyland Theater? Where is a show in the Golden Horseshoe?
Well, Bluey's coming pretty soon to the Fantasyland.
Yeah.
Theater.
Okay, great.
Room not enough for you.
I'm just saying that they had wonderful. In fact, they even say in things like Broadway caliber stuff. Yeah, Disney World has some of that. Why isn't Disneyland?
I'm going to steal this from Alex because he made a great point in his live. I felt a little attacked and offended. I will.
That wasn't my.
No.
Did you notice that I walked it back? I was like, I don't want to sound like I'm attacked.
No.
I'm
it was
really
one of those
curious
like,
what this is
ooh,
now.
you were like ripping open the wound. He mentioned, which is true.
Did he come for the Animation Academy?
No, he didn't come for the Animation Academy.
Sorry,
that was saved. No, but it's very true, and like there is, and I think we forget about this because we're in a very small niche that is the audience that gets excited about it. But overall, people do not go like pounding down the gates of Disneyland because there's a new show in the Hyperion Theater. I will say again, we're in the small niche of people that would, but like the average guest doesn't go because of a new entertainment offering. They go because of a new attraction.
But I have a question though. Why then?
That is kind of true.
Why then?
I am the person pounding down the gate. But that
why
doesn't mean everybody.
Then at Disneyland that has so many locals that they constantly put on food things and different entertainment to bring the locals back, to have new things for them to come and experience? Do they not put in these shows? Aladdin, super popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Frozen was pretty popular. The stuff, Mickey the Magical Map, seemed pretty popular, especially for people with small children. They're not doing any of that. Disney World, they just did a ton of entertainment, and Disney World are those people that once in a lifetime they go. If you're talking about like the average person, I feel like there's more average people that go to Disney World, and there's brand new entertainment there.
That's true.
but it's diminishing. Here's one question that I have for you guys. And I'm sure that you two, like myself, when you see a Disney survey come into your email, you chomp at the bit. You're like, yeah, finally. Because what I do is I use that as research, that I'm like, oh, what's Disney trying to figure out right now? Because that's the only reason why they're doing that. They're not looking to see if we've done a good job. They're looking to see what they can do next.
Yeah.
And I just filled out a magic key holder survey. And it was 20 minutes long. And I stuck on for the entire time because I was like, where is this going? Do you know what they didn't ask me one single time? They didn't ask me if I come into the parks for shows. Do you know what they asked me about? Will new events around food and beverage be most likely to bring me in? And so what you're seeing is they understand what brings that local California group back is not shows, but it's new food. And here's the interesting thing. It's a snake eating its tail. Because the reason why these things are so popular is because social media is able to report on a new dish, because a new dish can be changed out every 2 months. So the content can be refreshed every single time there's a new dish that comes through. A new show or a new attraction has a limited time on the social platforms. And so because of that, I think that we're seeing a shift that may not be manipulated by demand as much as overall social media structure, which is influencing that on a more subconscious level.
Can we go back to the time before social media? I feel like so many things were better before social media.
But the other thing, too, is the food festivals, you're paying to have that experience, whereas you're not paying anything additional for the entertainment that's included.
Well, and think about it. Are you guys, because I don't do the nights things, like that's not my scene. Sure. But you guys do like some of those after hours events, right? Like Oogie Boogie and all that kind of stuff. Would you say that the Oogie Boogies and the Star Wars nights and all of those things, does that fall more into like an entertainment side of things?
I think the vast majority of because they have like it's the things that they make that like people go gaga for, right? Because it's the social media, is it Instagrammable and stuff. So you got the photo ops, which is totally Instagram fodder. Yeah. But you also, as a Disney fan, you want to have a picture with your favorite character and stuff. So it does feed into that as well. But you also have food. We talked about this today. Like there's food coming at these things, which are like specialty dishes. And then you have the characters and stuff that you meet, and there's singing, or there's like a small little like show or something. Like Pride Night was all it was. Yeah. It was a bunch of these little like entertainment things. And Oogie Boogie Bash, I would argue, is the parade and the treat trails. Yeah.
And the treat trails, I'd say, would fall more into entertainment because it's still a character interaction, sure, but it's more of a it's more of an interaction than it's a photo op, right? Like,
they create the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, and you've got the whole atmosphere, so it's more. I'd say that leans more into entertainment.
Is this a safe space? Can I say something?
It's a safe space.
I mean, you've said a lot already.
It's being
Alex,
recorded and people are listening. But go ahead.
Here's
Backside of Water podcast, people. Backside of Water podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So here's food for thought, and this actually plays into what we do because we're all about the history. And again, I don't want to raise hackles because I know that y'all are shows fans, and please know that I'm not a huge show fan. My wife is a massive show fan.
Yeah, that's okay.
So with that, food for thought. Disneyland was never hinged on entertainment shows. Walt Disney didn't open Disneyland for shows. He opened it primarily for rides and interactive attractions. So that's one thing to think about. And the other thing to think about is the biggie, efficiency. Are shows efficient? Large shows, yes. But are smaller shows going to be people eaters in the way that Pirates of the Caribbean is? And so because of that, you're getting an enjambment of experiences that if a show is once every 30 minutes and you've got to wait for that cycle to come through, then you're planning to skip out on other things, which then gives you that net loss of overall experience. Again, like I said, I have no problem saying these things because it doesn't hurt me on a visceral level because I'm not a show person.
But think about this though, like isn't the whole idea of a Disney park that you're in this atmosphere and you're buying into the immersive nature of it? So think about like so the Golden Horseshoe is an example. There's not a show in there right now. What else is there other than Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and like the Mark Twain / Columbia? What else is there to do? The shooting gallery. Yeah. What else is there to do? But to be immersed in a Wild West themed area, it'd be so cool if there was a show in the theater that is a theater. Yeah. It would be so cool. You know, it's like Vern, producer Vern, huge fan of live entertainment. Dapper Dan's, the Disneyland band, the Pearly band, the Bootstrappers or whatever. Yeah, you name it. All of the different things. Those are all small things you're talking about. If all of those things disappeared, and we saw this when it reopened from COVID, everybody who went to Disneyland in that COVID, like right post-COVID time, all had the same feeling. I was happy to be back in my happy place, to be just physically in the space that Disneyland occupies, but it didn't feel complete because that entertainment is part of the fabric that makes up a Disney park.
That it creates atmosphere.
If you take that away, the theming starts to kind of go away. It's like Walt Disney said, you could build the greatest place, the greatest thing ever, but it takes people to make it come to life. And the way that you can do that is by entertainment like this.
Yeah.
So now let me ask, are you guys talking like, because all I'm thinking about is shows. I didn't even think about entertainment like Dapper Dan's or like the marching band and all that kind of stuff. I would agree that is absolutely atmospheric. How do I say this? It's just part of the area, right? Because like think of like Batuu. That's kind of what Batuu has been missing. I think they're trying to figure out what that's going to look like in the future, and I think that's why they're trying new things and expanding the timeline and all that stuff. For sure.
But you know, like going back there just doesn't feel as lived in as some of the other spaces do because of that, which is interesting because when you're talking about, you know, the people eating, like the Dapper Dans aren't people eating like, you know, other things are. Like it's not really doing anything money wise as far as, you know, people, again, someone doesn't spend their whole life wishing to see the Pearly band and buys a ticket to Disneyland just to see the Pearly band.
But if you happen across it, you're like, this is a cool bonus to my Disney day.
Yeah.
The one thing too with entertainment, and I think this is a great example, is Hollywood Studios. When think of Hollywood Studios, if you took out the 5 shows they've got there now,
one of them is an opening day show, that Indiana Jones show. It's been there since opening day.
But like if you take those out, there's not like that park's really not fully fledged out without those entertainment things. So it does help balance things out.
There's no doubt. And I think that Hollywood Studios definitely gets a pass on that because it is so stage driven. Yeah. I mean, with the theming, I think it absolutely makes sense. You guys have given me a lot of food for thought to think about because honestly, again, I have.
You're a rides person. Yeah, that's okay.
Everybody has their own Disney blinders on that I'm just like, parades, get out of here. Oh, fireworks. I've seen 1,000 fireworks. I worked 1,000 fireworks shows.
Yeah.
It's necessary to really think about it from that perspective that you're absolutely right that losing the human element through those surprise or magical moments, as Disney calls them, really does create it leads us towards the noise of attractions and away from the noise created by human creators. I think from a very deep personal level, there's major value lost in that.
Yeah. I do want to say we are streaming this to our, we do an episode stream once a month. And so we have some chat going here. And Kate in our chat said that she thought that the shows were very popular in Walt Disney World. She said even old shows like the Indiana Jones stunt shows were packed when she was there. Jill said if they had more entertainment, more people would be at that and alleviate some of the feeling that the park is packed. This is really important in Disneyland, right? Where the pathways and stuff are smaller. And then Kate also said, as a local, we often go and don't even ride any attractions. We go for atmosphere and to eat. If there was more entertainment during the day, we would stay in the parks longer and spend more money.
It's interesting.
I don't want to sound rude with that one. And I think it's a very valid thing. But I think that Disney, especially on the California side, says we don't want locals. We want people who are coming from out of town to buy more stuff. And that's, I mean, again, that's not me talking. I think that that's very clear in the structure of how they approach Disneyland, that they are trying to get locals to not come as much, which breaks my heart.
Yeah. And it's tough because, how do you appease, what's the balance? Appeasing locals and then also making it, the vacation destination.
Yeah.
I think,
always been a regional park.
Yeah, I think that, there you go. Oh, they're back to it. Open another park. Take off some of that demand.
I want to get back to something because you got kind of shafted on this, which is, to go back to 20 minutes ago or more, do you feel today that you are having a better Disney experience than you did, let's say, when we started the podcast or before?
So I think that's a hard question for me to answer because I think...
Or company-wide. Even.
Yeah, I think my eyes have been open to more things because since then... I've been introduced to the wonderful world of Disney cruising, and that's just its whole other thing. There's different things that I've experienced from Disney that I wasn't experiencing before. So I think it's hard for me to say if it's what the company's doing or if it's because I'm doing things differently, if that makes any sense.
Expand on that. I'm curious. So your perspective has shifted, so you feel like the park is less than a positive experience than you had before?
No, but just in general, because before my only thing was entertainment and the parks. And now it's there's a different facet when it comes to cruising and stuff. And even I know this isn't specifically the Walt Disney Company, but now that my eyes have been open to all of the wonderful fan and community events that happen and getting to kind of get to know other fans and connect with creators and people that had their hands on the parks and going to the Mouse Meets and the Disneyanas, and D23 obviously is the Disney version of that, but it's just a much, much larger scale. So it's a different experience in total. I guess I'd say overall, probably, net positive. And I think anything that's negative, like we talked on before, we kind of have created for ourselves. The internet has made, which is great, has made the Disney parks a more popular place to be. But because of that, they're a more popular place to be. So,
totally.
Waits are crazier. They had to shift to things like Lightning Lane and stuff because paper fast passes and reservations, so the things that they had been doing before weren't working for the demand. Same thing even with mobile ordering. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's because they're trying to cut staff. No, I think that was them trying to be able to pump more food out to get, get more people
and I'll
served.
be honest with you, mobile order, even locally here, yesterday I stayed at work really late. And on the way home, I just wanted something to eat. And so I opened up my Taco Bell app and I ordered my Taco Bell. And I drove up to the window and I said, order for tag. And they said, pull up to the window. And they gave me my food and I drove away. Because the thing that I hate the most about going to a drive-through is, or a restaurant or anything, is giving them my order. Yeah. Because I'm okay, McDonald's. I have a very complicated McDonald's order. I feel much better pumping it into the app.
Just typing it
I kind of want to know what this order is now.
When I order hamburgers through them specifically, I order 2 hamburgers with no mustard and extra onions, and sometimes I say no pickle, depending on my mood.
That doesn't seem like too tall an order.
No, but there's on a regular hamburger, there's only 4 ingredients. It's the patty, it's ketchup, mustard, a little bit of onions, and a pickle. And I'm literally saying everything about it except for the ketchup and the bun and the patty. That's the only thing I'm not changing. So anyway, but I feel much better and confident in my order if I can through the app do it. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that I can be at Disneyland. We've done this a lot where we kind of have different moods for things. And Teresa will be like, I want to go get this cold brew at the cappuccino cart, and then I want to get this thing over at the Paradise Garden Grill. And I'm like, well, I want to go get something in Aunt Cass's Cafe. So I'll order, we'll be together and order and pick a window that's similar. And then we all kind of go off in our directions and grab our food, and then we come back and eat. And instead of having to wait in line and maybe Teresa goes and the cappuccino cart line is 20 minutes, but my Aunt Cass Cafe line is 2 minutes. I'm not sitting there waiting with my food getting cold for her to come with her coffee. Do you know what I mean? It's added a lot of convenience, except for when they have the windows where it's the next available window is 3 hours.
3 hours. Totally. One thing that I'm wondering, though, as we have this conversation, because I am such a mobile orderer. If there's a place that doesn't have mobile order, you won't see me there. Like, I'm such a snob now.
Oh, wow.
Like, I just need mobile order because I'm efficient. I just want to make sure I'm getting on all my rides. But
well, you're one of those. That's the type of park goer you are. Okay.
Yeah, that's my problem. It's a condition. But I think that one of the things that's really interesting. And I was actually, so my original co-host of The Backside of Water, Harrison Ownby, he and I were talking yesterday. And if we have any listeners of The Backside of Water, Harry will likely be coming back for our last few episodes as we round things out. But he and I were talking, and he was saying that one of the things that he doesn't like about the parks now is that he has to be in his phone so much.
Yeah.
That he says, I go to the park so I can put it away, not so I have to just constantly be on it, which is something that I hear a lot of people talking about as a negative. I tend to think it's a positive. I get to see wait times. I get to reserve my food. I get to do all that. But we speak Disney. We know how to do those things, how to create an efficient experience. And thank God for travel agents and travel planners for those things, because if you didn't have somebody like that and you were just showing up, my brain would just turn into muck and fall out my left nostril because it's so overwhelming. So I do see that as a threat down the line, is you almost have to go through a Disney university before you can become a seasoned Disney park goer.
Yeah. But, conversely, if you don't buy into the Lightning Lane or the, whatever, Genie Plus and all that, when we're at the park, I don't look at my phone that much anymore. I used to, but I use it for mobile order. Sometimes we'll use it to look up wait times as a common one, just to make sure that we're like, whatever. Although I will say the last year and a half that I've been going, because we've gone so often, I can eyeball the line and be like,
yep,
what they're saying is an hour and 20-minute wait. That is like a 30-minute wait at most.
Yes.
And so I feel like you can't even trust the times in there, because it's well documented that Disney modifies those and games those to get you to go kind of where they want you. If they have a bunch of people on one side of the park and they want you to go to the other, they'll lower wait times so everybody kind of goes over there, and they'll raise wait times over in other areas. I don't think that they do it drastically necessarily, but I do think they tweak it. I don't think it's as accurate. Plus, I think it's hard to be accurate because things start and stop, and
Lightning Lane, you don't know how many people are going to show up at that moment for their return window. That's it's a window, so you have to kind of account for those people.
Can I give you guys an anecdote about that? When you get that little card that they hand you and they say, hey, can you give this to the cast member at the top?
The flick card.
Do you know how many guests just hold on to that as a souvenir?
Do you know that I lost one somehow in the Little Mermaid queue? How I was handed one and then went to hand it to them at the end, and I'm like, I have no idea where that went.
And we couldn't find it in line either. It was so funny. I was like, it's just down there and back.
And
What's
it's such a basic queue too. There's really no places for it to fall and hide.
Yep. Lost it.
But then
somebody probably took that as a souvenir.
But then you've got people like producer James, who loves the flick card.
Yeah.
And has a shirt that has the flick card on it, and is always hoping that the cast member is going to hand it to him. It's like, I've been chosen.
I'm trustworthy enough.
Yeah. And he's very good at giving it to them at the end and everything. We have a friend, listener of the show, who's doing some stuff with that, and it sounds like that flick card program probably is getting phased out and evolving. So
there's so many inaccuracy with it. Yeah. I think it's amazing because I've gotten to a place where, how they talk about raw dog in flights, that you're not going to read a book, you're not going to watch a movie, anything like that. You just sit there and sit in it.
That sounds miserable.
That's anxiety inducing to me, but I love the idea now. I used to be so grossed out by standing in a queue. And now that I'm 40 years old, for some reason, something sounds really elegant and pleasant about just standing in line for a little bit.
And it depends on who's around you, though.
Touche. If you're with a really boring group, then it's a problem. But if you're with people that you're enjoying, or there's not people who are emitting odors around you, that's another problem.
Or just being complete jerks in line and making a butt of themselves.
I'm even okay completely zoning out in the line and just looking at all of the random little, depending on the queue, right, there's some that are much more enjoyable to be in, and other ones that are just
more lately too.
Very Like there's certain attractions that I'm like, oh, we are not waiting in that queue for that period.
Well, Peter Pan's like that.
There's
It's such
nothing.
A
What are you
boring
doing?
queue.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing going on, and it just feels like an eternity. But something like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, where there's tons of things to look at, I will just sit there and zone out and look at all the different random things.
The biggest travesty at Disneyland is they built the granddaddy of them all queues that was supposed to keep you busy the whole time is Indiana Jones, and because of Lightning Lane, you walk just right through it.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something to be said about the lack of magic with that. Though I go back and forth. I'm such a hypocrite with this stuff because I see it from both sides. But I think that overall, I think that we're in a net positive with our experiences because I think that Disney's made it that you can benefit both sides. If you want to raw dog it and not use Lightning Lane, not use your app, not use anything, you can still go and be surprised. And you can go stand in a line. It may not be the most efficient day, but you still hit the mark. Or if you want to, you can have your nose in the app all day long and really curate an experience for yourself that is arguably more than somebody else. But if they don't know about your experience, they don't know what they've missed. And instead, they've had just a delightful time taking it slow and taking it easy.
Yeah, I don't. The type of Disney guests that will never make any sense to me are the people who are like, all right, we're going to get there. Rope drop. And at 8:02, we're going to go to Peter Pan. And at 8:07, we're going to go to this. And at 8:00 this. And then we're going to go over here. And we're going to get this for breakfast. And then we're going to go to this. And like their whole day is planned. And if anything goes offline or something happens, then it's like their whole day has been ruined. And I'm like, how is that a vacation for you? Because like ultimately these places are supposed to be places that we go and relax and enjoy. And I can't imagine. Yeah. And I can't imagine how having every moment of your day planned to the minute cannot feel or could feel relaxing at all.
Yeah.
Like we have enough of that in our day-to-day lives. Like throw the phone out, spend time with your family at the park, pay attention to one another, sit and eat your lunch and just people watch and just talk about your experiences from the day. And like we say all the time, let the Disney winds take you, because I feel like those days are the best days because you're not stressed. You really are taking in all the things that Imagineers have done in the park for you to pay attention to. And when you're walking around from thing to thing and you're lightning laning in your phone, you might as well be in your hometown walking down the street.
Yeah.
I think the tough thing though is we're very fortunate and get to go frequently. I think the people that kind of do that, like plan every minute out of every day, are the people that maybe like this is their first and maybe it's their only time. And so they're trying so hard to do all the things because they don't know, they don't know when they're going to be able to come back.
But at the same time, like, I feel like when I've traveled other places that I thought, maybe I'm only going to go to like once or whatever,
Sure.
Like I do my research and I say, okay, what is the one or two things that I do not want to miss? And everything beyond that's gravy. Because
what is that, like the 3-2-1 rule or something like that they have about parks?
I don't know. What is this?
No.
So, and I don't know it completely because I'm obsessively quantity, not quality. But what I think the rule is, and I don't know, maybe the chat can talk more into this, but I believe that it's in order to have a really good day, you choose 3 can't miss attractions, 2 can't miss shows, and 1 can't miss meal. And you plan those things, and then everything else is kind of like jazz. You know where you're going, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to get to all those places.
Yeah.
So it does strike a balance, potentially. I've never done the 3-2-1. It sounds elegant, but it doesn't get enough of that dopamine hit for me.
Yeah. And that's fair. But yeah, I think just, especially with dining reservation stuff, that one makes sense. Like, you have your one sit down meal that you're going to sit down with your family or friends or whoever you're there with and enjoy. For me, it just sounds miserable to have everything planned out. And that's not the type of thing I want. Even when we travel other places, like we try to hit up, like, we'd like to do these things today. And these are the ones that are really important. And these things are just kind of nice to have. And if we don't get to it, we have an excuse to come back, hopefully in the future. And I know that not everybody, I know that some people, the reality of the world, is there are some people who will only go to the park one time in their life, and they will have like 1 or 2 days there.
Yeah.
And that is the only time they will ever experience it, which is very sad. And I feel very fortunate that we have been able to go hundreds of days, I would say, at this point in my life and experience it. So
I think it's really interesting that you bring that up, though, Teresa, because one question that I really have to ask myself is, do you think, I mean, we talk about the dangers of social media with like, influencing, body image and self-image and all these pressures that we put. Do you almost wonder sometimes if the inundation of all of this social media that you get out of a curiosity for getting the best experience almost becomes dark and says that if you don't experience all of these things, you haven't done Disney. And if you're only going to do it once in your life, you better see all these things or else.
Yes.
And I do think that's a risk. I think that's a travesty.
And I think it's not intentional, right? I think people put videos out to say, these are the top 5 whatevers,
Yeah, for sure.
They're trying to be helpful, but then I think that just puts more pressure on people, whether they realize it or not, and creates
3 different creators have 5 the different top 5s.
Yeah,
which one?
Yeah.
And they all conflict.
Yeah. But it just feeds into the fear of missing out, which I don't think was as much of a thing prior, because we didn't know what we were missing out. Whereas now we're very well aware of all the amazing things happening.
It's probably selection bias for me, but like I feel like Disney fans are really big FOMOers. Like most big Disney fans want to experience every Disney. Like I don't know a Disney fan that, and I'm one too, that does not want to experience every Disney theme park around the world. That's on like every Disney fan's bucket list because they want to go to all the theme parks around the world.
And then lucky me, I decided to add cruising on that. And then they just announced 2 years ago now at the last D23 that there's however many more ships coming. I'm like, okay, this was a much more doable list until you've now doubled it.
But I said this when I got off the Disney cruise that like, I think the best, what I think most people want from a Disney experience, the best execution of that, I think, is on a Disney cruise.
Because it almost takes that pressure off, because it's like, wait, hold on. You're in this for 3 to 7 to 10 days. Take your time. You don't have to rush to get all these things. I think there's definitely, I spend every night before bed watching Ordinary Adventures cruise videos. Like for the last 3 weeks, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm on this kick. Yeah. And I've never been on a Disney cruise, but they look fantastic for that very reason, that you don't have the pressure. You don't have to push.
There's so much decision making taken off of your experience because, there is obviously still decision making, but the other cool thing too is there's activities, but there's also not activities. So like if I want to go do the animation classes and Vern's like, that is not my thing, I want to this. You can still do those things, but not feel as strange as it might be stepping away from each other in a park, because it's very easy to lose somebody in a park. I don't think it's as easy to like lose where somebody is on a cruise ship.
On the cruise ship,
there's only so many right? Like,
you just say, I'm going to meet you back at the room.
Yeah. And then you're always, even if you like go with multiple families, you're always going to come back like at the dinner times to get, like, you have certain points in the day that are kind of always bringing the group back together if you decide to do things separately. You can be crazy. Like Vern and I were on our first cruise and somehow book ourselves so many activities that we'd have to like remind ourselves that we needed to grab lunch and eat also at some points, because we were doing all the different trivias and all the different things that you can do. And we went into that first cruise very scared that we were going to be bored and not know what to do with ourselves for 4 days.
I remember you saying this.
We like overdid it. So
yeah. I remember saying, because I had gone on a bunch of different cruises, not Disney, and I said, trust me, you will not be bored. There's always stuff to do. Like they're built for every type of vacationer, and that's, you kind of overdid it. But what I will tell you, Alex, remind me, you don't have to be too specific because we're on a podcast here, but remind me what your day job is.
So I was in the classroom. I used to be a middle school, high school language arts and film teacher. But in the past couple of years, I've transitioned into the strangest job. I'm an assassin. No, I'm kidding. No, I teach something called a certified pool operator course. So anybody who runs a swimming aquatic facility, whether it's Blizzard Beach, whether it is the local rec center, or it's Great Wolf Lodge, they have to be trained how to keep people healthy and safe in the water, not spread illness, not kill people with chlorine issues, stuff like that. So they come to me and I teach them how to do that. And it's
cool.
very bizarre, but it pays.
Well, if you're able, this probably
So
would
you
have been
like
easier.
water? You could go on a cruise.
as somebody, this probably would have been easier in your previous profession. But best bang for your buck, do a transatlantic Disney cruise.
Oh yeah,
James and I are doing our second one in May. And it was 13 nights the first one we went on. This next one is 14 nights.
Wow.
And the first one we did was the two of us with the veranda, 13 nights from Florida to Barcelona.
Did you have to sell a kidney for that? I'm curious.
No, it was $4,500 for both.
For both of you? No
Yes.
way.
And Teresa, we spent more this time, but Teresa booked the newest one that we're doing. And it's more this time because not only is it the two of us, but we're also taking our first exchange student and his partner in a separate cabin, we've decided. So it added, because, a second cabin costs money. But again, 14 nights, not too bad for compared to the average cost of like a 3 or 4 night Disney cruise. You were getting such a good deal for going on those longer things because they're in weird times of the year. Obviously, you need to take at least 2 weeks off of work.
Yeah, plus you have your flights.
And you got to fly. So that adds money too. But you get like 2 weeks of uninterrupted in the middle of the ocean, enjoying the ship. I love the ship. If it was up to me, the ship would just go out in the water and do a bunch of circles and never go anywhere and come back because I'm there for the ship.
But I think that you bring up something amazing that I actually am kind of shooting myself in the foot with. With this. The value that you get out of a cruise is fantastic. The value that you get out of an equally amenitied resort in Walt Disney World is exorbitant to the point where it's almost robbery. Mm-hmm. And I will say that overall, that's someplace that Disney needs to look internally and say, how do we sleep at night charging a family $900 for a room that's the same equivalent as the Hilton Garden Inn, but we've themed it tiki this time. And they stay in that room for 7 nights. You're going to get so much better value out of a cruise. Because think about it. The amenities that you get at Disney's Polynesian don't hold a candle to what you get on a cruise ship. Yet you're going to spend 5 to 7 times more in that resort overall.
Yeah.
But Alex, don't you understand? The reason they can charge those prices is because people continue to pay those prices.
Yes.
So anyway.
But I do think that full circle, it's interesting that Josh D'Amaro is overseeing parks and experiences, which falls under the Disney Cruise Line. Yeah. And with that, it almost makes you wonder if they've got this philosophy like we just talked about. There's a Disney for everyone. That if you're looking for this experience, you'll find Broadway quality shows on a cruise line. You're not going to get them in the park. Instead, take a cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to have rides? Well, then why don't you go to Magic Kingdom? Because you're not going to find that at Epcot. Epcot's going to give you experiences. So it's almost like we've not localized anymore. We've spread it out. And I think that D'Amaro is kind of a genius for spearheading a lot of these initiatives.
Yeah. I do wonder, though, we said this back when they announced the shift from Ken Potrock to Thomas Mausolum, because he came from the cruise side of things. And so I've been patiently waiting to see if some of the stuff that you see and experience on a cruise doesn't then seep into the parks somehow, and they somehow translate that into a theme park experience.
I think they are, and here's why.
Oh, okay.
So I feel since he took over, and then of course you have to wait for the fiscal year and all that stuff to turn over. Look at stuff that they haven't been doing that they're doing. Rise of the Resistance, arguably probably on the top 3 attractions at the whole resort, is down for refurbishment. And I watched Fresh Baked,
TLC.
They're painting the queue
Oh,
Like
wow.
they're repainting the handrail, like cables.
Yeah.
They've repainted those. And I'm like, this to me
That's
seems
good.
like a Disney Cruise Line, because one thing that James and I were super impressed by was we went on the Disney Dream, which is not a new ship. We're talking over 10 years old. And that ship feels new.
Mm-hmm.
Every port that it stopped in, they were out pressure washing. They were out painting. Now, have we been on other cruise lines that also paint and also do stuff? Yes, but not to the level that Disney's doing it. Their ships look brand new even when they're old.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously good, right? Because the better you keep it up, the more you're going to be able to continue to book people on it, and they're not going to care that it's not the newest ship or whatever. I'm happy going on the Dream again. I liked the Dream. I don't need to go on the Wish or the Fantasy, or not the Fantasy. But the Wish.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
different experiences, because the first cruise, this was my crazy thing that I got to do. So the first cruise that we did, I was going back and forth, and I decided, you know what? I want my first Disney cruise to be on the original ship. So we were on the Magic. And while we were on the ship, we learned that it was going to be getting dry docked and having like a whole rehaul. I would have never realized that, because like nothing about, like, maybe like a couple areas the carpet looks slightly worn, but overall nothing about it looked like, oh yes, this needs some help. And then the next ship that I stepped on was with concierge when they were invited for the preview cruise. So then I stepped on a brand new ship. Were there a couple of things that I noticed? Like the wooden railings, I could actually still feel grooves in from like the wood. Yes, I couldn't feel that on some of the older ships, but that could also just be, like lacquer or whatever. But overall, it was not like, oh, this is way better. Like it didn't feel like a brand new ship versus like the original old first ship. And so that's a great point that they're looking at those details, because that's not selling tickets what the painting looks like in the worn in land that it's supposed to look clean up.
How often in the past have we reported on like the Mark Twain getting repainted? In the last like year and a half, it's gone in dry dock twice. So there's like more. I think the current president, I think, sees the value that it's going to be cheaper in the long run and is going to allow these attractions to stay open longer if we properly maintain them. And if we take the Mark Twain down once a year for 5 days and do some amount of maintenance, that prevents us from having to take the Mark Twain down for like 3 months every like 3 years. So I think that he's looking at like, it's much better to do this.
An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. That way.
And I think that if you look, there's been so much of that like preventative maintenance seemingly going on at the resort more recently than there had been. And now some of that could be because Ken Potrock literally became president like as the resort was closed.
Yeah.
So he was probably brought in and was very fiscally conservative because like literally it was not making any money. And then when it reopened, they had so much maintenance problems that they were trying to like keep up with. So I think
I don't blame him at all.
Thomas Maslum now, I think, he's obviously inheriting something that like is in a much better place, but I'm hoping that they keep up with that for sure. And I'm hoping that Josh DeMauro continues to see the value in that with the resorts worldwide and continues to finance not only new experiences, but keeping up the existing experiences, because they've invested a lot of money in these things for them to neglect them.
I think the biggest thing that we're looking at is Abu Dhabi. I think that with
what's that going to be?
With a brand new park, with the money that we're seeing from the Middle East financiers, it is like, it isn't, we have no concept. So my co-host right now, Freddie Martin, he works for a company called Storyland Studios, which they're basically like a Disney for hire. That they, if you can't afford Walt Disney Imagineering, then you go to somebody like Storyland and you're going to get the same quality, because the majority of former Imagineers are filtering their way through Storyland. Well, Freddie and I both go to IAPA. Have you guys ever been down to IAPA?
I have not, no.
Oh, if you ever decide to go, let me know, because I would love to walk you guys around IAPA. It's the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions is what IAPA stands for. And for listeners who may not have any idea what this is all about, every theme park in the world, for the most part, all comes to IAPA to get all of the things for their theme park. So when you hear that an attraction was built by Arrow at Disney, that means that Imagineers weren't out there turning wrenches and getting grease under their fingernails. They're hiring these companies to build their ideas, and that's where IAPA comes in. But one of the things that you see whenever you go to IAPA, I tend to go every year because of my job. I cater to a lot of these themed entertainment aquatic parks. And so with that, I was speaking at IAPA last year. And so Freddie and I were able to meet up together, and we were walking around talking about the billions, almost like hundreds of billions of dollars being invested in these Middle Eastern parks. And I think that that was another cherry on top as to why DeMauro got marked to the top of the list, is because they knew that he was going to be able to create an absolute cash cow where there has not been any Disney presence. And the fact that you're having Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, building parks over there before Disney does. And so they're seeing this absolute race to get over there because you've got Warner Brothers building parks over there that nobody knows about, and Disney doesn't have a presence. Unacceptable to the bottom line. And so that's why we're seeing DeMauro come in too, because this Abu Dhabi is going to blow every Disney park out of the water as far as tech goes and scale. What do you think about, like, we talked about this when they announced it. What do you think the chances are? Because a great opportunity for the Walt Disney Company is to do like they did with Tokyo and what they're doing with Abu Dhabi, which is find a partner that will pay for it and pay you for it. And you get all the credit in a way, but they pay for it. What do you think the possibility of having a domestic Disney park that has a relationship like that? I feel like there are companies that would jump at that opportunity if it was put out there. They did it with the Oriental Land Company, who's been a great steward of the brand. They're going to do this with the Prince, whatever, for Abu Dhabi, and then whatever company is going on over there. I think if that's successful, they might be more interested, because there's not a lot of, when they've built other international parks, Hong Kong Disneyland and Shanghai Disneyland, like and Disneyland Paris, there's been risk there. Yeah. But I feel like if they partner with these organizations, it kind of removes them a little bit from that risk. Who do you guys think would be a good candidate for that? That's an interesting idea. I don't know who necessarily would be like an American company, like off the top of my head.
Well, apparently
like
Mr. Beast is already taken. He's building his own park.
I will tell you, I've watched quite a few interviews of Mr. Beast, and he's actually an extremely brilliant businessman.
Oh, no doubt.
And super
business
and super driven.
Yeah.
And like listens to what his audience like does, and like he tweaks stuff. So cool, quick story. He came out with Feastables, the like chocolate brand, because he wanted to make chocolate that didn't use child labor. And the first time I ever had it, I thought it tasted like garbage. I'm like, nobody wants to buy this.
The first iteration was no good.
He listened to people, and they totally changed. And now I actually want to go buy another one. This has been on my mind for a couple weeks now. But the new formula apparently is really good.
It's fantastic.
And so he's been really good at doing this. So I don't know. I don't think Mr. Beast will pair with Disney, although Mr. Beast was at Disney for what? That's
true. The date thing.
Yeah.
Going on dates or whatever.
Yeah. Well, but anyway,
I'm curious, like Oriental Land, what did Oriental Land Company do before? Or was it a conglomerate that came together that was just a bunch of financiers that created this group to create Disneyland? I don't know any history on the Oriental Land.
It was founded in 1960, and it was a development organization that developed an area of land through land reclamation over there. And then they contacted Disney about building a park, and then they started doing it.
So it would, in some ways, like a large developer of properties. I'm so ignorant to that world. All I think of is like a Lennar, like a home builder. I'm like, who develops commercial property on that level here in the U.S.? Is that even such a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think that's
Anyway.
a fascinating idea, though, because I think that, again, DeMauro is seeing the future of this company as parks and experiences overall. Because I think that, again, one thing, the dark horse that we haven't even talked about is retirement communities. That Disney is going into planned living communities.
That's true.
On the retirement level, and they're revamping the celebration model where they're creating, like in Palm Springs, they've got that entire development down there, and that I guarantee is falling under this experiences umbrella. And I think it's because they're starting to see that Disney adults will soon be retiring and we've got to go somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. And they've done such a good job with their experiences. Like,
oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't want to live
in the Disney bubble
on Main Street?
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what these communities have done. And there's communities that are not done by Disney that I've traveled through, and I've been like, I would totally live here. It's clean. It looks nice. It's pedestrian friendly. It's clean. Did I already say clean?
It's really important.
But it's really important that it's clean. Like, I think a lot of the problems we have in like our bigger metropolises is that they're not clean.
Yeah.
So anyway,
look at Epcot. Epcot was the perfect. It was an experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
I would have lived at Epcot.
You know, I wonder if I would have, because after looking, so that's the next project at the backside of water, not to plug us, but
That's okay.
The next project that we're doing is we're going to be exploring Walt Disney's vision for Epcot.
I'm all about
asking,
this.
And asking in the end, could this have worked? And I've got a hot take that I believe there's a 0% chance that Epcot would have worked in reality. When you look at, there's a group that started this, that did like a 5-episode series back in the day. I was Walking with Walt, I think is the name of the podcast. And when you can go back and listen to their episodes, and it's a little dystopian on some levels, that you're like, oh, Uncle Walt's watching everything I'm doing, huh? And because you need that level of control, like you said, Teg, to keep things clean, to keep things orderly, but it's like at what cost? So that's what we're talking about. But I do think that you've nailed it, that what we're seeing on expert level things like the cruise line, like the Galactic Star Cruiser, RIP.
Oh, yeah.
We're seeing those types of things seeping out of experiences specifically and becoming more universally adopted across the brand. And I think that's great.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah.
Dang, take a moment for this Galactic Star Cruiser.
You know what really, I had this thought in the last month or so. You know what's really sad? So I am very fortunate that that our household has a pretty healthy income at the moment. And if the Star Cruiser was still a thing now, I would have gone to it. Like, I could have afforded to go to it.
Yeah.
But at the time, we were not financially in a position to be able to spend money to go do that. And so I'm mad that I never got to experience that and will never get to experience that, because they're not going to like bring it back. I heard it's like Imagineering offices right now or something.
Yeah.
Like all the project management for like the Monsters Inc. land and stuff. They're all working in that.
Yep.
I mean, that makes sense.
Apparently they've left everything how it is. They like have taken out some of the things, but like they haven't torn out anything. It's just the shell, and the rooms are like offices. I don't know.
So, you know, speaking of cruise line, you know, one of the rumors that I've been hearing is that they're going to replicate a light version of the Galactic Star Cruiser experience on an upcoming cruise line.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
That makes sense.
That's the way it should. Truthfully, it should have been rolled out that way in the beginning.
Yeah.
That when you're in between ports, you have this immersive experience that you'll never get anywhere else. The problem is the tech. Like tech on the portholes on a cruise line like that to make it believable with space would be very difficult. But oh man, it's the greatest experience I've ever had in life was the Galactic Star Cruiser.
We'll have to have you back on and talk about that, because I have we could go on for a whole hour about the Galactic Star Cruiser, because there's a bunch of things that I think are some of the problematic aspects of it that are not price related that I think would be super fascinating. So
yeah.
Tune in the future. We'll have Alex back on to talk about this, because I think it would be something super fun and interesting to talk about. So, any last thoughts about the CEO change? Like, is this going to stick? Do you think that Josh and Dana are going to be around for a decade plus? And is the company going to prosper in that time?
I'm just as curious to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. So I'll keep my answer brief. And I think yes. This is a long-term relationship. I think Disney learned its lesson from Chapek that we can't take risks on this. We need to have a surefire thing. There's a reason why you see Iger grooming Damaro for this position in the parks on a constant basis. Mm-hmm. And behind the scenes, because she doesn't need to be so visible, you see them doing the same thing on the back end. And with that, I think that it's going to be a long-term solution to this problem. Now, are we going to see a 20-year tenure like we do with somebody like Iger or Eisner? I don't know if it's healthy to have a 20-year tenure because we start to see diminishing returns on that. But I do think that this is going to be, again, a net positive for a good long period of time. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's going to be a net positive too, because when was the last time that we had somebody that had been a Walt Disney Company employee for 20 plus years get put into such a high elevated person? It's in his DNA. I think it's very close to his heart. And because he puts himself in the parks to experience and connect with both cast and guests, I think it's a different level for him than maybe what we'd seen in the past with Chapek and Iger, where they just kind of kept themselves almost at least at arm's length, if not further away from it, and didn't really have the right look at things. So I think it's going to be a shift, and I think it's going to be positive for us, the consumers, especially. And I do think it's going to be a long-term thing, unless something blows up somewhere. I don't think it'll be maybe a 20, 30 year thing, because I think I saw somewhere that Damaro's 54. So, is he doing this into 75?
20 years would put him at Iger's age.
Yeah.
Iger's 74.
Yeah. And those people deserve, Iger deserves to retire and enjoy his life. He apparently has a yacht or something that he bought last year that he's looking forward to taking out, and something
it's
about
called the treasure.
The treasure. Right. So he's got stuff that he wants to do and enjoy his time too. And I think everyone deserves that in their life. So, I don't like seeing older people who should be retired still working, because it's just no, go live your life.
Term limits.
Limits,
Iger.
Yes. What are your thoughts?
I think it'll be good. I think, again, what we talked about, I think is imperative here, that I think the Walt Disney Company operates best when it has two people at the head that can kind of divvy up things. The fact that if we look back at previous CEOs, we had Walt, right? Mm-hmm. And then we had a bunch of
all sorts of people
that were kind of we're stuck in that shadow of Walt period. Mm-hmm. And then we had Eisner, who came in from the outside. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Eisner brought in Iger, who was kind of an aqua hire, right? They bought ABC, and that's how he came in. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like he was working for Disney that whole time. And now we've got somebody who actually was part of Disney proper for that amount of time and is good. Things that I really like about Damaro that I hope that he takes advantage of, that I think will really endear him even more so to the wider Disney audience, is he's got that charisma.
Yeah.
That people, when he was in the park during COVID and after the COVID shutdown, he was in the parks meeting with cast members. He's in the parks fairly frequently, just being visible and talking to guests. There's all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then at D23, when he did that stuff, he was very enjoyable to watch. He seems very comfortable in front of people. He's definitely kind of a showman. And what I hope that he does, because nostalgia is such a big thing nowadays, I hope that they find some modern way to bring back an Uncle Walt kind of thing. I want to see Josh Damaro say, "Good evening. I'm Josh Damaro, chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Tonight, we're presenting Moana 2. Now, Moana 2 has taken us, X amount of years, and we brought all these people together to do this, and we're happy to share this with you tonight." And kind of be that personal, because a lot of people look at Disney as a person, right? And they have a personal connection to the company. Personify that in a person.
Yeah. Well, and Eisner did that too. They tried doing that too. And it makes a difference.
And he was pretty good at it. He didn't take himself too seriously. He'd have Mickey animated with him, and he'd be like, "Oh, hey, Mickey." And I want that. Bob Iger never was like, hey, Mickey. He was like, here comes Mickey Mouse, but like didn't really, he was very corporate.
Yeah.
And I want someone who feels like a buddy, you know, like an uncle or a father figure that's going to be like, hey, there's some crap going on in the world right now, but tonight we're going to let you forget about all that because we're going to show you an awesome Mickey Mouse cartoon. Enjoy. Like, that's what I want.
I think you're right. I think you're spot on. I think tomorrow. So it's interesting because, again, I go back to my tome of Disney War, that it goes into the reasoning behind why Eisner did what he did by kind of bringing back that magical world of Disney that he did, that he, in some ways, he believed that he personified the new Walt Disney. Like, he really kind of king went mad with power sort of thinking on that he really did believe that he was Walt Disney incarnate in a lot of ways, but it was effective because he personified the entire understanding of the company into one person. And Walt Disney was so famous for talking about this because he said, I'm not even Walt Disney anymore. Walt Disney can't smoke or drink. I smoke and I drink. And so because of that, I'm crushed under the weight of the personification of this Walt Disney. So, Tag, I think you're absolutely spot on that if we have somebody who does have that riz the way that Tomorrow does, I think we could see, because Iger's shy. You can tell that he's not somebody who wants the spotlight. And there was a reason why he was chosen, because that was kind of the quintessential opposite of Eisner's personification. But I think we're ready for it.
Did you watch the first episode on YouTube of We Call It Imagineering? And
I haven't yet. I haven't.
You should. It's been, a year now or something. But that first episode, Josh Tomorrow comes out and he's like, welcome to Imagineering. They're doing some really great things here. It gives me that vibe of the 10-year anniversary special with Walt, where he's like, and he brought Julie Ream around and was like, here's us working on the Haunted Mansion. Here's this cool thing that we're doing here. How do you think we get out of thing? You go up the waterfall. Like, you had all this wonder that Disney is so good at, and they're finally getting back to showing off the creativity, the innovation that they're doing. They're really a high-tech company, but for so long, they've like guarded it as like, we don't want to tell anybody what we're doing because like Universal will take it or whatever. Like, show off how innovative of a company you are, because like you're so much more than theme parks. You're so much more than movies and TV shows or sports. You're like all of these things, and you have and because you're so big now, you have all these different things. So anyway, I just hope they do that. I really enjoy that.
I think they will, because you said We Call It Imagineering, and I can think of other things that I've seen him just kind of be the, hey, take me around and show me what you're doing. Like, kind of like the, not the narrator or the spokesperson, but kind of the thread
your tour guide.
Yeah, kind of like your tour guide of whatever it is that they're going around and doing.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, again, I don't want to open this can of worms because I want this to be a neutral approach to this. But who was the last person to do that? John Lasseter. John Lasseter was the last person to be the face of a Disney pointing company.
Sure.
And without Lasseter's charisma, Pixar probably wouldn't be where it is today, because there was a face to Pixar. Now, again, behind the scenes stuff, that's whatever.
Separate.
Yeah. But I think, and I'll say this about Tomorrow, I get a very authentic feel. I can't read people well, but I do get an authenticity from him that he feels genuine. It's not one of those where he's like up on stage and then smoking crack or whatever.
It doesn't matter, though, because if he can sell it, that's what matters.
For the bottom line, no doubt.
Yeah, but he just has an ability to make you, like you said, kind of just believe where he's going and trust. And you're excited about what's going on. But on the other side of that too, whenever you see him, and we saw him walk past a couple times, didn't actually get to meet him because he was very much on his way to do stuff, which
2 feet away,
which is okay. Once in the park and once during D23, again, totally fine. But he, even when he's like, looks like you can tell he's on a mission, I think he has a problem not stopping and talking to people, because he had people, his team around him was kind of like, oh no, he doesn't have time. Like, they were kind of making sure he didn't see that people wanted to talk to him.
If you get past the shield, he will stop and talk to you, and we cannot have that.
But which is amazing, because he looks very approachable. Yeah. And then the fact that he also really wants to like connect with, fans, whether and he But the one time
he's a rock star.
Yeah,
really.
the one time when we were at D23, we were there with a friend who's a cast member who was wearing their badge because they had just done something, like they were on break or whatever. So they were working D23, and he saw the name badge, and so he like made his team kind of like go off to the side so he could say hi and thank that cast member before he continued on. So
I don't think that's a show. I don't think so either. Political purpose for him to rise through the company. I think that's innate. And I think that's such a great quality.
But that's what the company needs, because it's had so much bad press in the last decade of labor issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that they need to I think Josh needs to do something to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if you saw it, Teresa, at the very end of the live. So Freddie Martin's daughter was a former cast member down at Walt Disney World, and she chimed in and she said that down in Walt Disney World, everybody loves DeMauro. Cast members love having him around, which says a lot, because then she also followed up and said nobody knew who Chapek was. None of the cast
That's not surprising.
even knew who he was, which is very telling. So I think you're onto something. I love that.
Yep. I think it's going to be good.
Well, Alex, where can people find you on the internet?
On the internet, you can find me on my social medias on the Backside of Water. Check out Instagram, Facebook. I'm now starting to dip my toe into TikTok, which I don't know how I feel about it. I'm definitely feeling like a boomer right now on TikTok. Then you can find our podcast wherever you find your podcasts. We're just the Backside of Water. We cover the rich history, awesome stories, and fascinating details behind your favorite Disney attractions. So we'd love if you come over and gave us a listen and became one of our friends.
You haven't said that line 100 times in your life.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Y'all, I just want to say thank you for having me again.
Of course.
Like I said, I love what y'all do. When I'm looking for Disney news updates before I go to the park, I pregame my park with you guys exclusively, because I love your guys' approach. So thank you. It's an absolute honor being on here. It's an absolute honor being able to have a conversation like this, to be able to have such informed, thoughtful conversation about this is refreshing, because I think a lot of people have opinions, but you guys go one step further and you have experiential, informed opinions, which then change my perspective. And I'm so grateful for that.
Well,
thank you,
Alex. We are just so thrilled and delighted. For those of you that don't know, we talked about this on our live stream that we're doing. I tapped on Alex's shoulder late this afternoon. So he was super awesome and flexible. Thank you to your family for allowing you to step away from having the evening with us to talk Disney with us. But yeah, no, this was amazing conversation. As soon as we'll have a link to Alex's live that he shared, because he goes into some other things that we didn't get to cover in this extensive conversation we had. Yeah, we got distracted a couple times, but that's okay. We like squirrels here.
Diversions, tangents. We live for them.
Well, you've heard us talk about our great experiences staying at the Howard Johnson Anaheim. Well, we have partnered with them to offer our listeners some cool discounts. Weekly tiers can get 15% off their stay. To take advantage of this discount, head on over to DLWeekly.net and click on the Howard Johnson logo.
Woo! Welcome back to Trivia Land, Shell. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know, Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we're going to go back to those awesome listeners and their awesome questions, and we're going to find out the correct answers.
Well, they definitely did what you guys asked them to do, which is you always said you got some great questions to stump them. Mm-hmm. Well, you did.
This was a rough night for you. You got one really well answered, awesome question with great specificity.
Yeah, that was our Roger Rabbit one, I bet.
Sure.
Well, let's see how you did. Your first question from listener Melissa C. What was the stage show that was a feature of the Disney Afternoon Live? Both of you saying it was Dick Tracy. Well, Dick Tracy was a 1990 show at the same stage. That stage, also the Videopolis stage, was the stage for the Plain Crazy show that was part of Disney Afternoon Live.
Okay, did not know that one.
So he had the right stage, wrong show.
least we had the right place, Teresa.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Plane Crazy was on the Videopolis stage in 1991 as part of Disney Afternoon Live. Dick Tracy Diamond Double Cross was based on the 1990 Touchstone release. There was also Beauty and the Beast, and Spirit of Pocahontas came in 1995, which is when Videopolis was renamed to the Fantasyland Theater.
I feel like I need to go back and watch Dick Tracy. I feel like I watched that as a kid, but that's the only time
I actually just watched it like a month or so ago, and it holds up. I still really enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah, the cinematography on that and the way that they really just took it from the graphic novel and put it onto the screen is amazing. Really like that movie. Your second question from listener Eric S. What are the names of all the boats in the Storybook Land Canal boats? Both of you just throwing up your hands and saying you were stumped. I really wanted to give you a hint of tell me all of the women involved with the locations in Storybook Land Canal, because you were looking for Alice, Ariel, Aurora, Belle, Cinderella, Daisy, Fauna, Feline, Flora, Jasmine, Merryweather, Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Wendy. Your third question from listener Jacob B. In Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin, Jessica was originally seen just as she is in the movie, but now she is seen wearing what? Both of you agreeing that she's currently wearing a yellow trench coat. The correct answer that I was looking for was a yellow trench coat.
It was yellow. Look at you.
We don't have to completely turn our fan cards in.
Well, yeah, not completely, I suppose.
Well done on that one.
Thank you, thank you.
And your fourth question from listener Todd B. How many people have a window dedicated to them in Town Square? For purposes of this question, we are counting the Opera House block of buildings, the Town Hall block of buildings, and the train station.
This is where we're turning our fan cards in.
Your answers were 7 and 14 and 10 and 4 and
all
5
the numbers.
And 28 and 20 is what you came down to at the end. What we were looking for was above the Opera House, Milt Albright, Ex Atencio, Bill Evans, Blaine Gibson, Robert F. Janney. Above the Mad Hatter, John Lewis Catone, Ray Van de Walker. Above Disneyana, Alice Davis, Mark Davis, Fred Leopold, Gunther R. Lessing, Esquire, Wade B. Rabaton, Gordon Youngman. Above the Main Street Bank, Marvin Davis, J.S. Hamill, Richard Irvine, Bill Martin, George Patrick, Gabrielle Scognamillo, Frank Wells, William T. Wheeler, John Wise. Above City Hall, Jack Lindquist, Buzz Price, Marty Sklar, for a total of 25.
I was only 3 off.
Not bad. Okay. Not bad after all of our hints. So I was looking, I pulled up the Mice Chat had an article where doesn't seem like they're going in order per se, like around the resort. Like your question was location specific, but at least has photos. I had forgotten, like looking at this above the Disneyana shop here, I had forgotten.
There was one on every window.
Yes, because some of them, I forgot that they're not all
fancy ones.
Yeah, fancy and flourishy and whatever. Like Richard Irvine and Marvin Davis is literally their window. Their window is just their names. Yeah, just their names. And there's a few of them that are like that are just their names in gold. Maybe there's 2 names on the window. Maybe it's 1 name on the window. So I'd kind of forgotten about those.
Yeah, because we're thinking of always the ones that have that, Elias Disney was contractor and blah, blah, blah. And it's all themed.
However, I should have known this because the Main Street Electrical Parade
World Headquarters was
World
there.
Headquarters one is there. And I now that I'm scrolling through and looking, I'm I know that window is very
Yep.
I know that one. I know the Evans Garden one.
Oops.
Anyways.
Oh well.
But no. So Vern, I think you're where you got your stuff. I think my face palming that I was doing was Alice and Mark Davis are on Main Street. I think they're on Main Street proper. I think they're over above. Where is
above
this?
Disneyana?
No, they are not.
No?
Well, they might also be there, but this is like the fancy one.
Yeah, they're the windows that I was thinking are, I don't even know where that is. Like
down from the market house. We should email in guest services because they have a document that has all the names and where they're located.
Mm-hmm. It's like driving me nuts because I don't know why, but yeah.
Podcast listeners don't need to.
No, well, they can write it because I'm sure our podcast listeners are better Disneyland window fans than we are, and they can tell me exactly where it is. Like it's the photo I'm looking at is just the top of the, like just the windows zoomed in. So I'm like, what building is this? I can't picture in my head what building this is. All right, we found it because it was bothering me. Thank you, Google Street View. It is between the Book Rest shop, so it's on Main Street, just past where the theater is, so where the Mickey shorts typically play, past the casting agency door, which is another nice like window nod. I think that's officially like Walt's window, isn't it?
The casting agency one? I don't know. Let me.
Or it's just a window to all cast members.
Yeah, it's for all the cast members. Yep. It takes people to make the dream a reality. Walter Elias Disney, founder, and I can't read what that says. But anyways, yeah. So it's above there. It's a little skinny pink building. And I just love that their windows are next to each other. I think that's so sweet that they have like side-by-side windows since they were married in life. There you go. All right, Vern.
Well, listeners, how do you think Tag and Teresa did? How did you do listening at home? Do you have some awesome question that's going to really stump them in the future? Or maybe you have some great window that you know a lot about. If you've got that perfect question and you'd love to hear it on the podcast someday, please feel free to send that in to us at dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
A special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast, Andy Mack for all the wonderful character transitions, and to James D. and Aaron C. for supporting at the Club 33 level.
I am the podcast that flaps in the night. I am Tag and Teresa's tangent that takes you down the rabbit hole. I am DLWeekly.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.